Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let me make it very clear from the from the outside that Mnangagwa is pushing this constitutional amendment bill number 3 for three main reasons. Number one, is he genuinely want to stay in power to gratify his insatiable hunger for power and wealth. Second reason is that he is keen to protect the wealth he has amassed already. And the third reason is he's concerned about his past. He's not confident that whoever comes in may not want to dig up his past and demand that he should be made accountable for it, particularly the Kukura massacre, the 2008 Operation Mapotera Papi, and many, many other criminal activities that he has been involved in. The number one reason why the people of Zimbabwe would want him to go is that so that they can finally have a chance to breathe. Here is Botswana's President Boko talking on the issue of staying in power beyond the 10 years.
That any president of any country who wants to be president more than 10 years, anybody who has that ambition is instantly a failure. You can't want to do this job for more than 10 years. You can't. If you are serious about it. If you take the job seriously, you can't do it for more than 10 years. For more than 10 years, that's an indication that he has failed and he has no intention. He doesn't understand the job.
Ben, welcome to the program.
Good day to you and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. Would you believe that Zimbabwe is 46 years or is turning 46 years on the 18th of April? And yet, at 46, they have never had a democratic or a proper change of power. It is absolutely shocking that the only time that Zimbabwe has had a change of power was through a military coup. And with this military coup, the worst character could not have been picked. And you have just listed the atrocities that the man has committed. He is one person that even in 2008, when Mugabe had clearly lost elections and Mugabe wanted to pack his bags and go, refused the democratic process and told Mugabe, "You are not going anywhere. Go ahead and start preparing cabinet," knowing fully well that he had lost. And after that, you did mention there was Operation Mafutira Papi, and a lot of people were beaten, a lot of people were murdered, a lot of people were displaced. And the worst thing that could have ever happened, while replacing Mugabe or finally seeing Mugabe, leave the position, we go and pick and cheer the worst ever candidate to take over. Unbelievable.
Sorry about that interruption, Ben. Sorry, go ahead.
So I was just talking about the political aspect of Mnangagwa and the atrocities, the shame, and the basic history that Zimbabwe has never had any democratic change of power. But then let's go into the economic. I mean, everybody out there within ZANU PF ranks or those that are in power have said that they want to extend his time because he has done marvelous. He has been above and beyond. He has done unimaginable things. And the question that one would have is, in English, they say the proof is in the pudding. Where is the proof? If we are talking about roads, it has been said that Mugabe, during his time in power right now, has actually done far less than Smith and Mugabe in terms of road development. His total mileage, not creating new, but just servicing what has been there, is extremely poor. And yes, they like to talk about a trabables. A trabables is just an exchange. It leads to dead roads. Is that the marvelous that we are saying is done above and beyond? A parliament that is now filled with people that were not even voted for by the people. A new parliament does not mean that there is a better discussion or better way forward that is being made in there. It's just a building. An airport that, I would like to quote Margaret Dongo that says, it only services a very few people. Yet you find the hospitals are dilapidated, they're falling apart. Schools, our children are still learning under trees in this modern day and age. The list is on and on and on.
I think what President of Botswana was trying to emphasize there is that you can't stay in power for more than 10 years. The reality with Mnangagwa is that he was in the Mugabe regime from the word go, soon after independence in 1980. So since 1980, he has been a minister, and later on, he even became vice president before taking over from Mugabe in 2017. And has already been in the office of the president for the last 8 years. And now he wants to extend his stay in office by another 2 years. This is just ridiculous. This is absolutely pathetic. This is what has destroyed African countries. The hunger for power is such that it becomes an absurdity. Totally agree with you. Zimbabwe is now 46 years since independence. And in those 46 years, the nation has had only two presidents. Two. And it's not as if their record justifies that. On the economic front, he pretends that he wants to stay in power to finish his projects so that he can deliver Vision 2030 for Zimbabwe, where the economy will be transformed so that the country is now an upper middle income nation. He has been in power already for 8 years. The economy has not shown any sign of any meaningful recovery. The last year alone, Mnangagwa must have spent at least $5 billion buying cars for his ZANU-PF officials, the war veterans, all for the purposes of bribing them so that they endorse his desire to stay in power until 2030. $5 billion. Many people have complained that he's buying these ZANU-PF officials and these other political operators motor vehicles when most hospitals do not even have an ambulance. And then the man claims that he's going to be the one to deliver Vision 2030. Vision 2030 is but a mirage, and that is the truth. What Mnangagwa is doing here is just giving a feeble excuse to justify why he has got to stay in power. Here is his predecessor, Mugabe, admitting to that very fact.
We have served 2 terms. We have not done much. And 2 terms was like 2 weeks. So we want to go more. So you want another term, and you must find an excuse. The first term I served, oh no, it was not a real term. But you were there for 5 years. Oh no, it was Parliament which chose me. I should have been chosen by the people, so that one does not count. And the others say it counts.
That is the tragedy.
But when we have said
of Africa, we're always coming up with excuses why we should stay in power. And we seem to believe that we and we alone are the only ones who are competent to govern the country.
What I find very disturbing is the fact that this Mnangagwa regime has tried by all means to divorce itself away from Mugabe's regime. Yet you find out that most of the characters that were in Mugabe's, rule are also present in Mnangagwa's, uh, Second Republic, if the way they like to say it, and they've consistently tried to benchmark all improvements against what Mugabe did, and yet Zimbabwe's original benchmark position should be at independence. And at independence, Zimbabwe was dubbed to be the next Singapore or South Korea. That was the projection that the world had given Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe, since ZANU-PF took over, and when I say ZANU-PF, I include this Mnangagwa regime because they are part of ZANU-PF. And like you said before, he was vice president. He was next to the man. He was the advisor to the man. And many other, the Chris Mtsangwas were there in ZANU-PF. So they cannot just divorce themselves completely to say, Mugabe's, regime was useless. But when you look at some of the things that are there, I was talking about Mugabe, built more roads than Mnangagwa himself. And these are facts. You cannot simply just wash away the blood on your hands. You cannot wash away the atrocities that you committed now, then, and maybe tomorrow. ZANU-PF has failed the country of Zimbabwe. Whether it be the First Republic or the Second Republic, they are the same. They are all failures. They are benchmarking from each other, and yet their benchmark should be at independence, where Zimbabwe was a powerhouse, where Zimbabwe was an upper middle income economy already, where we should have been fighting for more and more. Now we are being given less and less. And because we are getting given less and a few developments, they think it warrants them an extension or a prolonged stay. That is very nonsensical.
The tragedy with Zimbabwe is we have got a political system that has never really allowed any meaningful political discourse. Mnangagwa may even win the referendum and have this constitutional amendment implemented. Because some of the people, the ordinary people out there, they have no clue what we are talking about here. The regime is propaganda department working overtime, telling the people that if they want development, they must vote for this amendment bill. So people believe that by voting for it, they'll finally get the development they've been waiting for. Others have been brainwashed into believing that Mnangagwa is even ordained by God. Where that came from beggars belief. But that is the reality of some of the people we are dealing with here. Others have been bribed by the regime. Notably, people like Bishop Ntend, who has come out in support of the amendment bill. It is public knowledge that he received gifts from the regime, millions of dollars, farms. And so his support is not because Mnangagwa is competent, but because he has been given the opportunity to partake in the looting. The truth of the matter is, which is the tragedy, is that if this amendment bill goes through, Zimbabwe can honestly say we have moved even closer to creating a dictatorship with the dictators with similar powers to those of North Korea. While any nation would freely choose to live under the conditions of North Korea, beggars belief. Ben, would you like to give your closing remarks?
It is unfortunate and quite sad that after 46 years, and Zimbabwe will be celebrating its independence in a few days, that ZANU PF has failed to give Zimbabweans a democratic voice. It is unfortunate that you find that ZANU PF are willing to pay and bribe this way into staying into power for long and longer. It is unfortunate that ZANU PF has failed to abide by even the constitution of Zimbabwe. But what I find very, very sad is that Zimbabweans have had the opportunity to change all these things. Imagine removing Mugabe and going to go and pick the worst candidate amongst all. One person that had the history that was so dark and mad with violence. Zimbabweans came out in the streets in millions and celebrated his coming into power. I believe the world must have been just shocked to say, how foolish can these people be? And now we are living the worst kind of nightmare ever. The man wants to even prolong his power. And as how Timba Muliswa puts it, he will keep shifting the chair until I don't know. This is just another way of just opening Pandora's box. God knows when he will decide to step up or to step out. We are at a very dark moment in the future of Zimbabwe. We are at a place where we cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. And we kind of created this. We supported this. We took bribes for this. It's very sad. 46 years. A country has never had a democratic change of power. The only change of power that came through was a military coup. It's pretty sad. It's pretty pathetic for us as a country. It is unfortunate that we will be remembered for this. Thank you.
As much as Mnangagwa wants this constitutional amendment number 3 to go through, this would not have happened if the opposition leaders have not sold out. Rigging the process is the easy bit. Getting legitimacy would have been impossible if the opposition leaders did not participate. Opposition leaders like Tendai Biti, Lapmo Matuku, Jameson Timber are the ones who have been rallying the people to participate in this amendment process. The catch is ZANU-PF does not need the people's participation to rig and win that amendment. It only needs them to participate to give the process legitimacy. ZANU-PF rigged the 2023 elections and the 2018 elections before that, and so on and so forth. Rigging the amendment process is infinitely easier to do. The real tragedy for Zimbabwe is that at least some of the people have been warned of the sheer futility of participating in this flawed process. But they've been conned so easily, again and again, by the opposition's lies, idiotic lies in many cases. We are our own worst enemy, if the truth be told. If Mnangagwa gets his wish to extend his stay in office beyond 2030, it would have opened a Pandora's box. Because now it's up to Parliament to extend the term of office of members of Parliament and the President. And if he can extend it for 2 years, what is there to stop him extending it for 3 years, 5 years? Or somebody else in future doing the same thing. we are responsible for what becomes of Zimbabwe. And the moving from becoming a dictatorship has been relentless these last 46 years. And why we are failing to stop it beggars belief, because it is not rocket science to see that this move is a futile one and we should have nothing to do with it. And we should be able to stop it. And the only effective way of stopping it is stopping participating in a flawed process to give the process credibility and the result legitimacy. Stupidity is knowing the truth, seeing the truth, but still believing lies. Believing that Mnangagwa will deliver Vision 2030 is believing a lie. Believing that participating in a flawed process will stop the amendment going through is believing a lie. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.